What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Breakfast with Perkins. I'm, of course, your host, Perkins. I'm going to jump right into it. What the actual is going on with Microsoft, and then I'm going to put Ubisoft on the back of that. Microsoft, first off, if you haven't heard, living under a rock, Microsoft has now made the Xbox Game Pass, they've increased it by 50%, which at first wasn't a big deal to me for a couple of reasons. Number one, after having put as much money into my PC as I have, $30 a month for whatever seems kind of, I don't mean I'm living high on the hog. I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying $30 compared to what I've put into this PC and spend on lenses and cameras, it seemed inconsequential to me. And then I sat there and thought about it. In the beginning, I was thinking, if you're playing 6 games a year, 6 brand new games a year, you're gonna even out. So Game Pass is what, $30 a month? Every 2 months, that's a new game. 6 games a year. At first, I thought, yeah, that sounds good. That makes sense. But then I sat and thought about it. I was like, people don't usually play more than, 2-3 games? You ask anyone what they're playing, it's going to be the same 2-3 games all the time. Some people just wait for that new Call of Duty game to come out, and that's what they play forever until the next Call of Duty comes out, which I get. That's an annual release. I get it. But is the value worth it? Now, for me personally, I still have my Xbox Live. I still have my Game Pass for that Xbox and for the PC. And let me also preface by saying this. I'm an Xbox fanboy. Everything I've owned console-wise, I did have a PlayStation, and then a PlayStation 2, and after PlayStation 2, and I got them right over there. Original Xbox, 360, Xbox One, Series X right over there. They're all over there. I've been an Xbox fanboy from jump. And moves like this make it really hard to be like, all right, Microsoft, okay. Been doing a lot of dodgy things lately with, I don't know who's taking the bong hit and thinking these are good moves to do. I obviously out of my pay grade, I have no idea, but it just doesn't make any sense. I could understand if Xbox was in their prime. Let's go back to the 360 days where Microsoft was riding high. Even with half of their consoles fucking up, you couldn't fuck with that 360 era Microsoft. Everything was good. The exclusives were great. The Xbox Live was amazing. All of it was just, Microsoft was at their prime during that time. If Microsoft was a powerhouse today, like they were then, I don't think $30 would be too much of a, some people would hate it and not be okay with it. But I think for the most part, like, okay, cool. But let's be honest. Halo has lost its luster. Gears of War has lost its luster. Forza is still good, but it's kind of lost its luster. And now the fact that Microsoft is putting half of their stuff, not even half of their stuff, they're just trickling their shit over to Sony and all that stuff like that. It just doesn't make any sense. You don't have the back foot to stand on to charge 50% more. Now, if you were coming out with insane exclusives, quality, upper echelon, top tier shit, people wouldn't be complaining about that $30. But you acquiring studios, and then what I think happened was they acquired a bunch of studios, just a hostile takeover, and then are trying to offset that cost with jacking up the Game Pass cost of things. I don't know that for certain. I could be completely wrong, but that's just kind of how I feel about everything. It just doesn't make any sense. And now there's obviously the rumors which have been going around that Microsoft wants to exit the hardware game, which is also an interesting thing because you think of the big four. I grew up with the big four. You had Sega, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. The Dreamcast was one of my favorite consoles of all time. That was a phenomenal console. So you had the Dreamcast, but then Sega withdrew from hardware, but they still stayed in the gaming, so that was good. So then it was the big three. You had Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. Nintendo is solely, sorry, didn't mean to flip you off. Nintendo is solely a gaming company. That's their whole thing was gaming. Gaming. Then you got Sony, which is essentially a hardware company. That's what they do. They make hardware for things. And then you got Microsoft, who they're a software company. Everything runs on some type of Windows or some type of Windows OS, whatever it is. They're a software company, so it wouldn't be too crazy to me for them to withdraw and go to what they know, which is software, and just mainly do the streaming thing and all that stuff with gaming and stuff like that. But it's kind of shitty because when we had the big four that I just mentioned, you had different things exclusive, and it kept things innovative. Each company had to be on their P's and Q's, doing shit over here, making sure this shit was good so people didn't go to Dreamcast, or Sony making sure this was good so people didn't go to Microsoft, or Microsoft making sure this shit was good so they didn't go to Nintendo. Everyone was doing their thing, and there was enough piece of the pie for everyone to get their own cut. And it was great. And it just, I love competition. Competition keeps things fresh and innovative and all this stuff. And if Microsoft does decide to withdraw, you're going to have what? Sony and PC, which some could argue, yeah, PC is essentially an Xbox, I guess. I could see the argument, but yeah, you just have Sony, and then like, there's no innovation. It's the same thing. Like right now in America, the two big phone brands are what? Samsung, Apple. Those two companies are so big and hold most of the market share that they don't need to be innovative anymore. They don't need to do anything new because they know they have their set pie cut of everyone, and they can just trickle in new features all this. When's the last time we had a nice innovative phone launch? It's been a while since we had a phone launch and been like, whoa. Versus like back in the day, granted phones were a lot more cheap back in the day, but back in the day you had like the Kyocera's, and you had the Razors, and you had the Blackberries, and you had the Nokia N-Gages. You had phones. People weren't afraid to take risks. You know, all these companies, Virgin had their phones, and Sony Ericsson. You had so much variety to choose from, and now it's just the big two, and then you have these little other companies that no one's really like, they don't have a whole lot of buying power behind them. I mean, they do because they're part of other companies, like Google's phone and stuff like that. Yes, Google's too big to fail. I just think it's a very interesting thing. I don't know why Microsoft's doing what they're doing, but I do find it very interesting. The thing is, obviously, Microsoft as a whole is too big to fail. They're not going anywhere, and they make so much money that they could keep funding Xbox, their gaming division. They could keep funding that until the world blows up, and they wouldn't even know. They just have that much money. But obviously, we all know their gaming division isn't doing too hot. It's just a real fall from grace, and it's saddening as a Microsoft guy to see where it was in the 360 days. Original Xbox, great. 360, great. Then that Xbox One came out, and that was the... Xbox One wasn't even catastrophic in terms of breaking down and malfunctioning. And it just was an underwhelming generation of Xbox for that. Like the 360, what was it? What was their failure rate? Like 57 or 62% or something like that? And you still couldn't fuck with the 360 era. It was amazing. And I forget how many billions Microsoft put into righting the wrong with the red rings. But this doesn't make any sense. I don't get it, but it's an interesting thing to see what could potentially happen and all that good stuff. Another thing I wanted to talk about is Ubisoft. Now, this also did come out that Ubisoft, they were planning to do an Assassin's Creed that was set during or just shortly after the Civil War. And I guess you played as, it was essentially going to be Assassin's Creed meets Django, which I think could have been a sick fucking game. That'd have been really cool. But they shelved it, they binned it, saying due to the political climate of the country. And I'm thinking to myself, who gives a fuck about the political climate of the country? What are we doing? Ubisoft to the point, like what does Ubisoft have? Like, you want to talk about a fall from grace? Ubisoft. Splinter Cell, that Ezio trilogy, everything up to Black Flag, but we'll go before that. Splinter Cell, in and of itself, was one of the best genres ever. That was the big three when it came to stealth games. Splinter Cell, Hitman, and Metal Gear. Those were the big three. That was it. Now we still have Metal Gear. We still have... I don't even know what Metal Gear is like these days. I haven't played a Metal game since Phantom Pain, I think it might have been. So I can't speak too much about it. Hitman's one of my favorite games of all time. That entire... the new trilogy, and then obviously Blood Money and Absolution and all that stuff. They just don't have, all they have is Assassin's Creed, and they're playing it really safe. What I don't understand is you don't want to release a game that could potentially shake the hive and upset political, but then you decided you wanted to go super, I don't even want to say left or woke, because I don't know what the intent behind it was, and I know he was a real person and all that stuff. I don't care, but I'm just saying you wanted to go against the grain as far as having a black dude be one of the main protagonists in a feudal Japanese samurai game. That won't shake any nests. That won't. But then having like a Django / Assassin's Creed game, that's too much. What are we doing? And I feel like, see, you get companies like Take-Two, Rockstar, who they don't give a fuck. That's why we love them. That's why they can go 5, 10, 15 years between each game, because we know, especially with the Grand Theft Auto stuff, fuck it, we'll take Red Dead. Fuck, you can go watch clan meetings. You can go feed women's suffrage voting right chicks to alligators. You can do whatever the fuck they don't give a fuck about a climate. They don't give a fuck. And the KKK, that was historically accurate for the time. Well, yeah, of course the KKK, that's a bad group of people, depending on who you ask. But that's historically accurate. Like if I'm listening to something in Red Dead and I hear someone drop the word nigger, I'm not gonna sit there and go, oh my God, oh my God, oh. That is historically 100% accurate for the time. What are we doing? I think there was a Battlefield game a while back, maybe it was a Call of Duty game or whatever, people upset that there weren't enough women characters in the game, when historically in that frame of war there weren't women on the front lines, but people were still upset that there weren't women and they wanted something done about it. So I guess what I'm saying is shout out to Rockstar for still being one of the few gaming companies that doesn't care about what the political climate is or worrying about pleasing somebody. They're going to make the game they want to make, and if you fuck with it, you fuck with it. As we'll see next year with, hopefully next year with GTA 6. But I just wanted to get that off my chest, wanted to talk about that. Drop how you're feeling in the comments. What do you think? What do you think Microsoft's doing? How do you feel about Ubisoft these days? I don't know. The last good Assassin's Creed game to me that I sunk the most hours in and played far after the ending would have been Black Flag. Origins was good. Odyssey was good. Valhalla, I didn't mind because I like that whole Nordic theme. I don't mind that. But Black Flag was the one that I sunk hundreds of hours into and had no problem doing it. So, I don't know, gaming's just a weird thing. Everything's either fucking battle royale or really safe bets from everyone. No one's taking chances anymore. But, you know, I guess a lot of gaming studios, from what I hear, you know, when you're one bad game away from being closed down or shut down, you know, you're going to take the safe bet. But I'll end the plane there. Let me know how you guys feel. Like and subscribe. Tell me how you feel in the comments. I do appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you next week. Peace.